Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today is Cub Cadet Day. Got a quick little maintenance task here. For those of you new to the vintage Cub Cadets, or maybe you have just gotten a Cub Cadet with a mower deck and you're wondering how the mower deck works and how it fits on the tractor, we're going to cover all that here in a couple of minutes. So what I've got here is my 108. This is a 1972 model. I've had it for 40 years. And it right now has a 42-inch triangular mower deck on it. And I put this deck on a couple weeks ago when I had a belt failure on my 44A mower deck, a slightly wider mower deck. I had to put this deck on because I didn't have a spare belt to drive the other deck. I got a spare belt, so now I'm ready to put the 44A deck back on this tractor, and we'll cover the easiest way. I think the easiest way to do it. I've done it, I'm sure, dozens of times, swapping decks out. I've got a pile of decks. I probably got 10 decks that have come with the tractors that I bought over the years. Well, maybe not 10, 7 or 8 anyway. And so we're going to swap the deck out on here, and I'll show you the way I do it and what it entails. Let's cover the controls for the deck real quick, just so you'll understand how it works. There are this is a gear drive tractor. It's a 108. Now, it actually has a replacement engine. I replaced the engine a couple of years ago with a 12 horsepower engine. So even though it says 108 and that's what it was originally built as, functionally it's a 128. The first two digits being the horsepower in this line of tractors. This is called a wide frame tractor. These tractors were built from 72 to 70, I don't know, 75, 70, something like that. After that, the quiet line tractors came out, which had a enclosed shroud over the engine, had a slightly different engine arrangement with a ring gear starter and electric PTO. These have a mechanical PTO and starter generator. There are two latches, one on each side of the hood. This one's got crammed up there. All right. So the hood hinges forward. This hinge here on this hood is a common failure point for these tractors. So here you can see this hinge has already got a little crack in it right here. So just FYI, keep an eye on this hinge, because all of the weight of the hood is pivoted on this hinge with a very small fulcrum arm here. So there's a lot of stress on this hinge. In any case, this tractor has a mechanical PTO here on the front of the tractor, which is actuated by this control here. So in that position, the PTO is engaged and drives the belt, which goes underneath and drives the deck. In this position, the PTO is disengaged and the motor runs without the deck running. Okay. This is the height control for the deck. Raises the deck up and down, and has a push button for it to float, or to be locked in any of a number of different positions. So then there's a control here with a cam that you can loosen this knob and rotate this cam, which hits this arm on the height lever. So that controls the height of cut and lets the deck float against this cam. So that's the deck height control. So we're going to put the deck all the way down. Actually, we're going get it like this. Loosen this knob, release the cam. That'll let the deck go to its lowest possible position. So that's the first thing you want to do, is get the deck to the lowest possible position. Okay, the second thing you need to do, and it's best to do this with a cold engine, because you do have to reach down here to put a belt on and off the PTO. And in the case of this particular deck swap, I do have to change the belts, because the new deck is going to take a different size belt, different length belt. To release the belt, pull this pin, let the PTO arm go forward. This rod is actuated by the PTO handle over here, and this is the rod that actually puts tension on the mechanical PTO clutch. And you can see the actuating arm going back and forth here as I move this. So when you move this, it allows the actuating arm to move away from the clutch so that you can get a belt on and off there. Okay. All right, so we've got the deck on the floor as low as it'll go. Got the PTO disengaged. And the next thing to do is pull the rear support pins on the deck. Let me get a flashlight. It's not enough light under there for you to see what I'm talking about. So let me get a little flashlight here. All right, we'll go back to the PTO. All right, so this gives you a better view, hopefully, of the PTO. So the PTO is here, and the actuating arm with the bronze button on it is right there. So that bronze button pushes against the center of the PTO clutch and disengages it or engages it. Okay, so to remove the deck, there's really only a couple of things need to be done. So right here is a spring-loaded pin which goes through a hole in the support arm, this support arm here. So we pull this pin. All right, so we pull this pin, and it's best to rotate it down. That holds the pin away from the support arm. All right, we'll go around the other side and pull that pin. Alright, and again, rotate the pin so this short end is on this bracket, and that keeps it pulled back. Alright, since we're not reinstalling it, that's not as important, but alright. Then the last thing is these loops here on the deck fit over the ends of this arm. So it's already moved forward. Tension from the belt has pulled the whole deck forward off of this support arm. So just moving the deck forward releases it from these two support arms, support points. The belt's loose. We can pull the belt off. Then let's go back to the other side here. We'll lift the support frame all the way up, and the deck slides out. All right, so you can see why I call this a triangular deck. These came in 38, 42, and 48 inch widths. This is a 42. 42 is probably the most common. Okay, so the deck's off. The belt was loose from the pulley, so we can reach down here to the PTO, grab the belt, and pull it off. Okay, so now we've got the belt and the deck off. All right. Push the tractor back a little bit to make some room up front here. All right, the next thing we're going to do is remove the, it's called a mule drive. A mule drive is the set of pulleys which translate the plane of motion of the PTO, turns the corner underneath the front of the tractor, and directs the belt back to the mower deck. So on this particular tractor, and this is different than what you may find, I actually installed bolts here that I can tighten to hold the mule drive to the tractor. Usually these are just studs that stick out that the mule drive ears hang on or hang over. But I found it, I mean, like I said, I've had this tractor for decades. Literally since 1979. So that's 42 years. Alright, so those are loose. So now normally most tractors are not going to have bolts there, they're just going to have studs sticking out with a hex head on them. And the ears of these ears of the mule drive just hang on. They rattle. I mean, it's a source of noise on the tractor as you're running it. So I wound up putting bolts in there to do it. All right, then the quick attach release, push that down, pull the mule drive loose. Then there are two cotter pins which need to be removed. There's one. All right, with this other cotter pin removed, then that releases the subframe. Once you've got the two support pins, cotter pins removed, then the mule drive and the subframe pull out. Okay, this subframe is the type that's used with the triangular decks, and the way you can tell is that this arm is straight. All right, so you have to have a straight arm. The other thing is These two pulleys on the mule drive are in parallel to the axis of the tractor. They're straight. Okay, so that's the mule drive, subframe, triangular deck, and belts. That's what has to come off. All right, I'll get the parts for the other deck and we'll take a look at them. All right, here's the deck we're going to put on. It's a 44A, and it's been serviced and is ready to go back on the tractor. All right, that's the deck. And the other component we need is the mule drive, which you'll notice the pulleys are not parallel to the tractor axis. They're tilted to the right. It's because the center pulley on the mower deck is off center. And then this subframe, which is specifically for the rounded decks 44 and 50, is curved. So this arm is curved, not straight. So it's crucial that you get the correct subframe and the correct mule drive for the particular deck that you're installing. So this goes on exactly the same way that the other one came off. When you install the subframe, of course, you need to pay attention to this particular part of the subframe. This fork goes over a metal rod, which is actually the support for the foot pedal. So there's a 5/8 inch diameter round rod which goes across the tractor and is welded to the frame that fork engages. So when you pull the subframe up and put the cotter pins in it, you need to make sure you capture that fork over that frame. All right, so I'm going to lower the frame as far as it'll go, and the lift. Okay, so the mule drive and the subframe is attached. The cotter pins are in. We can raise the deck, the subframe, I'm sorry, let's raise the subframe all the way up. So the mule drive and the subframe are attached. I moved it to the full up position. The next step is to slide the mower deck underneath, lower the frame, and engage the deck at the front, the two front support loops, and the two spring-loaded pins in the rear on the frame. Helps to have a little more floor space. First thing is to get these two front loops over those arms, and it's just a matter of pushing them back so they engage those loops. The next step is the two spring-loaded pins, which need to go in the arms, so it's helpful to have the pins retracted. Go. You may have to lift the arms, support arms of the support frame up so that those large spring-loaded pins engage those holes. All right, so it takes a couple minutes of finagling to get those pins to line up with the frame. Once you do that, the deck lift works. We go up and down. All right, so we're gonna leave it in the down position because the next step is to put the drive belt on. So there is a belt tensioning arrangement here at the front of the mule drive. You've got this rod which puts tension on this pulley, and this lever which has a spring on it which can be pushed in, and that pushes the idler pulley back, which basically loosens the belt tension. So let me get this one set up, and then we'll start putting the belt on. All right, so here we can see the PTO pulley and the actuator arm. So we're going to feed our belt down between those two and behind this rod, which actuates the PTO. So we'll feed the belt down there first. Okay, so now we have the belt over the PTO. The next step is to feed it around the idlers and get in position to put it on the center pulley of the mower deck. All right, now that we've got the belt over the PTO pulley and around the two idlers, keeping the V, in the groove, so you have to twist the belt a little bit. We bring the belt back. It's on top of this first plate, but it has to go under this second cross piece. Okay. The second cross piece is right here. Okay. Then it goes around the pulley. All right. With the belt over the PTO around the two idlers, then this is the way I do it. I wind the belt onto the pulley. Okay, so hopefully you were able to see that I wound the belt onto that center pulley. But it's important to do that the PTO be disengaged. So I had to put the control rod back in the arm here and pull the PTO clutch arm back so that the PTO pulley can rotate, and let the belt rotate a little bit as you wind it on to the deck pulley. If you don't have the PTO disengaged, then you're trying to turn over the engine. Depending on where it is in the stroke, it may be easier to do. If you're up against the compression, it's going to be tough to do. So you want to do whatever you can to release the tension on the belt. Okay, so I've got the belt on the main pulley. We'll release the tension on here. Okay, it's already released. Let's look and see where the pulleys are. All right. The one thing you want to be concerned about, or at least careful about, is the position of these pulleys relative to the axle. If you put too short a belt on them, the pulleys will rub the axle and notch the axle. So that's a common thing you sometimes see. So I think in the case here, we're in good shape. Neither of those pulleys is rubbing the axle. Okay, so that's installation of a 44A deck on a wide frame tractor, this one being a 108, but it's the same process for any of the wide frame tractors. In fact, it's the same process for any of the Cub Cadet vintage tractors. Basically the same process. A few of the oldest tractors do not have the quick attach section, and you have to bolt the mule drive on the front on the 70 and 100 models, but on the tractors with the quick attach makes it a lot easier. So okay, going to start it up and engage the deck, make sure the deck is running, see how it goes. Hey guys, that completes the deck swap on this 108. I did go try to start it and it won't start. So I did have problems getting it started and bringing it up here to the shop. So I suspected there's an issue. I did check for fuel and it's not fuel related, it's spark. I pulled the plug and the spark is intermittent, but I did get it started to drive it up here. So I'll cover that resolution of that issue in a separate video. So thanks for watching this one. If you haven't already subscribed, I would appreciate it if you did. Hit a thumbs up, share it with your friends, especially if they've got Cub Cadets. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.